GPS Speedo app running, and that's going to go in my pocket and how fast we're going on this journey and top speed. Unfortunately, I haven't got anywhere to mount it, so I can't show you as we're going along, but it will record the top speed, distance and averages. So that's going in my pocket now. And then we're just going to turn on the modified E300 and we're going to do a couple of miles, see how we get on. As you can see, it shows my voltage as I'm going along. Keep an eye on my battery, and yeah, let's go.
Not my normal vehicle for a motovlog, but still fun.
I'm not sure how much you're going to be able to hear from my mic. I have put a windproof sock on it, a dead cat, just to see how much I can pick up. And it's nice to see people speeding in a 30 zone, isn't it? You have to really anchor on then. Old people, hey? And somebody on their mobile phone. Amazing. So as you can hear, the motor really winds up when you give it the beans. But because it's an adjustable thumb throttle, I don't need to be running at full tilt all the time. Whereas the original E300 only had an on-off switch basically as a twist throttle, which wasn't very effective. So this last mile technology stuff is a bit weird, isn't it? Because we're not allowed to ride them on pavements and we're not allowed to ride them on roads. But I feel like a cyclist, really. And therefore, you know, you've got to respect other road users. Always wear a helmet. My daughter rides on the front with me sometimes. She wears a helmet as well. And if somebody's coming towards you, you slow down, stop, get off, whatever you need to do. Because pedestrians should have the right of way, but it's safer to be on an empty pavement than on a road. Yeah, I think it's really odd that they haven't taken on the last mile technologies. Adopting something that will really free the roads up and potentially reduce pollution on the roads, because more people will be out of their cars, which is what you're going to want. It's certainly a fun thing to ride. I do get the feeling that one of my batteries is not as good a quality as the other one. I'm thinking of changing that out because the speed does tend to drop off. And I think that's because one of the power packs is dirt cheap. So maybe I'll get a third one to increase my range and then just use that powered one as a kind of amp boosting measure, really.
By putting the two 36-volt batteries in series, you don't gain extra volts, but you do have more amps available for distance and when your motor requires more full load.
I definitely think that people on last mile technologies shouldn't be using major junctions like roundabouts, you know, or large intersections, because it's not safe to be doing that. And obviously there have been reported cases of fatality. Yes, I have a bell. But as you can see, made the person turn around, she knew I was there, there was no surprises. Carry on. There's the lovely river parrot. I have had some issues with heat building up in the brake system on this E300, and I think it will be time to put a disc brake on it. It's just where the drums aren't very efficient, and if they're not completely adjusted correctly, you'll get rubbing, and obviously at high speed that rubbing creates heat. It's also putting more strain on the motor, and this motor is still the original Razor E300. That was lovely, enjoyed that bit of carving there. Yeah, still the original E300 motor. I've had a lot of people message me to say, oh, don't use the original motor, it'll burn out on 36 volts. Well, at the moment I'm up to about 25 miles worth of distance that I've done on this motor and the new battery setup, which is a twin 36 volt. So basically a 10S 2P battery, and I haven't burnt it out yet, and there's no signs of the motor getting hotter. It gets warm, yeah, it does get warm, but it doesn't get hot. But I guess if you kick off to start so that you're not putting too much load on that motor, then the amps aren't going to affect it that much. And I do tend to feather the throttle, so I'm not just putting it onto go mode and seeing what happens. I'm building it up to speed and making sure I coast where available. I think I'd like to put a better set of bearings in it. I'm unsure of the sizing. They look kind of like standard scooter bearings or skateboard bearings, in which case I could put a really set in. Cheers, buddy. Thank you. Yeah, if I put a really slick set of skateboard bearings in it, I could reduce the rolling friction, rolling resistance on those bearings, and I'd have a smoother ride, and therefore I'd be using less battery, which would be worthwhile. But as you can see, using last mile technology for these type of roads is absolutely perfect. I've got cycle paths, so I'm not in anybody's way. Junction's clear. Okay, so I'm on flat ground and I'm going flat out with 30.2 showing on my battery meter. Actually, I might just see how warm my battery's getting. Not my battery, my motor. It would be interesting to see how much temperature I'm putting in it, running it so quick. Such a vast improvement on the original battery setup and motor speed. Hello. I am worried of dogs when you're on this thing because it makes funny noises. It whirs and makes clinking noises and they pick up on it, and I don't want to go scaring a dog. Now I'm starting to feel a bit of battery drop off.
Remember, by battery drop off, I am talking about boosted performance. This motor will run at the original 24 volts, meaning you go back to standard speed.
It is fun to, rather than parallel your feet, put them in stance and use it like a snowboard. Use your weight to lean around corners and things like that. Oh, that's sharper than I thought. Yeah.
So at this point I arrived, just as the GoPro finished its recording. Looking at the app, I had covered 2.3 miles and my top speed was 21 miles per hour. I did the return journey and the battery is still good for 18 miles per hour.